got this ZPacks Pocket Tarp set up in my basement little man cave area, which is just floor to ceiling gear. I've got it staked down using a little bit of Gorilla Tape and stuff, so. But I got a pretty decent pitch on it. I mean, it's not great, but who cares? What I really want to do is just show some modifications that I've done to create for this pocket tarp, which weighs like next to nothing. I've created like a bathtub floor using a sheet of polycryo. This is Sea to Summit nano tent, or nano net, really. There's no bottom to it or anything. It just kind of wraps in. And I've got that rigged up, and I'll show you how I did it, because it actually, the peak of it is off to one side towards the head end and not in the center. Like this tarp, the apex of the tarp, the very top of it is actually dead center on the tarp from this side to this side. So, you know, it created a little bit of a problem, but I had a workaround that actually works really good. What I wanted to show you is how did I make my bathtub floor, and it actually can be a bathtub floor. You can make it not a bathtub floor. You've got all these options because of the way I've done this. And I'm going to kind of go through that because I think it's really simple, and it also, like if you're out on the trail or doing something long distance hike and your polycryo gets dirty, I mean, you could just pull this whole thing apart, clean it out, wash it in a creek or something, hang it up to dry, and then reassemble all this in minutes, literally minutes. So I'm going to show you kind of what I'm doing here. And if you look in these corners, I have little buttons, and if you're at all a bushcrafter, you learn about buttons, because instead of making a hole in a tarp, you tie off on a button, and then you've literally got a tie out on your tarp. So same principle. I literally just took and pulled up the sides about 8 inches, and then it obviously leaves like a big sheet of plastic here. I just kind of rolled that up to give this a little more mass underneath this. And then these are 1/2 inch cork balls, and these are used for those little you know, those little knobs or buttons, we like to call them. And I've just put that up under here, gathered around a bunch of that polycryo material. This is literally just like a slip knot. I call it a Canadian jam knot because it's a slip knot finished off with a 1/2 hitch, which gives it a little more tightness. But this isn't even pulled tight. It doesn't need to be. And matter of fact, I think for the polycryo, you don't want to cinch down on it too tight, but it's on there, right? It's totally fine. It works like a champ. And then this part I just have hooked on there so that you can access your sleeping area, and then just reach out underneath, hook that sucker on there, and this is staying. I mean, I don't care what is happening, it's going to stay. And then since I just like to tie knots, so this is just fed through 1/2 hitch, finished off with another little 1/2 hitch, and I could just pull that out. You know, it just saves weight and whatever. You know, at some point maybe I'll get those little line adjusters from ZPacks or something there, because they weigh nothing, but it's pretty cool. And you know, when I got this pocket tarp, I was so happy. I mean, maybe this is a pocket tarp review too, that it had these little tie outs. I ended up actually, I got this whole kit of gear from ZPacks. Oh, by the way, when they sent my pocket tarp, they gave me so much extra of the little line for the tie outs that I really, what a great company. Yeah, these guys are just first class. And they actually sent me, I ordered some repair tape, but they just sent me some anyways with the tarp, and I ordered a bunch of shot cord. I may do some shot cording of things, but I don't know where I'm at with that right now. But you know, I got all these patches, even some of those, like you can see the round patch back there. I even got some of those with the little, you know, with the little tie out tabs like this. Because I thought, you know, oh, I'm gonna have to make all these tie outs, but they actually kind of had everything, you know. even, you know, there's even a little loop back there for that one if I want to expand my cryo out to like have an area to throw my pack down where it's not directly on the ground. I don't really care about that, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe I want a little extra room, you know, throw a little bit of my gear inside. But you could see, I mean, the lay of the net tent is not perfect, but man, who cares? I mean, you can get in there and it's not like dragging on your feet or anything like that. And what I ended up doing up here was I just took there's like this whole nylon crown and stuff, and this cord comes off this. Eventually, I think I'm gonna I don't know if I want to cut this or not. You know, I just thought about it. I was like, why don't you just keep your options open? You know, maybe I have another setup at some other time and this works, you know, where I'm tying that off to a tree or something. And literally this whole thing weighs like, I think sub 3 ounces. I think it's 2.9 ounces for the entire net tent. It's silly. It's like ridiculous. So I just kind of wadded it up and pulled tight on the foot section, and then just kind of like brought it out as far as I could towards the center, and just wadded up and just wrapped around the shock cord and like just kind of clove hitched it off, you know. I mean, just like a simple, like, just wrapped it under and pulled it tight, and there's enough friction there. It just holds it perfectly. And then the mitten hook, and of course ZPacks, they think of everything. They've already got a little loop up there. I'm thinking about down here, this is just a little piece of Velcro that I'm going to use for when I break down the pole and stuff, just to kind of hold everything together. But, you know, I may do another little button situation here, whatever, but I can't really incorporate the net into that because, you know, you do need some room to get in, which is, and if you look at these other buttons, I actually don't have these, and it actually really doesn't matter, but these are actually underneath this cordage here, and so they really won't come off, but it's just as easy to take them off. Or if I wanted to switch it to have easier access, I just untie this, reverse the position, tie it back on, I'm done. And if you notice at the foot end, I've got it real tight to the tarp, and then the head end, I've got the most amount of space, because that helps this to work. And man, it just surprised me how great of a little setup this is. But I just really, you know, this whole system, you know, where I've got the buttons at the corners, and like all I have to do to, like, if I want to service this in any way, or say it gets a tear and I want to swap it out, if I have another piece of poly cryo, it literally within minutes will be replaceable. Once I pull this knot out, this whole thing comes apart, you know, into one flat piece. I can shake it off, I could clean it, I could do whatever I need to do, and then just reassemble it in minutes. You know, I literally just pulled up the side, gathered up the material, threw the knot on it, had my little jam knot ready to go, and just cinched it down. And like I said, you don't even need to cinch it down tight. If anything, just make sure you kind of keep that a little bit loose. It's not that important. And man, it holds great. I mean, this whole thing is pitched up so right and tight, you know, and you got a little bit of splash protection and stuff. The only thing that makes me nervous about this tarp is, I mean, if you look at it, I don't know, just, if you look at it, if the wind is blowing the wrong way, you could really, really get jacked up. And I think I'm kind of addressing that, because I know it's 59 inches from here to here, from this, we'll call it the beak, from the end of the beak down to this corner tie out. I'm thinking about, I want to see how much the large ZPacks rain quilt is, because I may use that as a panel, because I even if the wind, well, number one is, this is the kind of tarp where if it's raining, you need to have your game squared away and know which way the wind's coming, right? Obviously, I would put it so the wind's coming at my back. But if you got a sort of a sudden shift where you're just getting some weird spray, I would like to have a panel that I could either put on this side or on that side to kind of, you know, give me, you know, 3 angles of protection. So that's it. And I'd really like to hear your thoughts on what you think of this setup and so forth. And if you have any experience with this shelter, using it. Oh my gosh, I'd really like some experience. I cannot wait. As soon as these temperatures change, I'm getting out in the field with this thing. So, hey, thanks for watching. This is Adventure Bushcraft and Survival.